You want to know about the Saturn Mount. The reason you want to know about the Saturn Mount is because you basically want to know regarding the money that you would be making in your life. See, money line is something that everybody wants to know about. Money lines ends on the Saturn finger, under the Saturn finger on the Saturn Mount. You have to understand that however good the money line might be, it cannot guarantee you everything in your life. You can't quantify how much money that you would make in your just by looking at the money line. You also need to understand the meaning of the Saturn mount. What the Saturn mount means. Saturn is a very, very slow moving planet. It is a planet for many things that you see on the left hand side. These are all the things that the Saturn represents. So the first thing is wisdom. To make money, to be money wise, you need to have wisdom, and you should be making wise decisions in your life. If you're not making wise decisions, the chances of money moving out from your life increases. So just for example, what could be wisdom? Something like, for example, you like somebody and you give money to that particular person, and you think that probably that person needs your money, and right now he is in need, so it is better to help that other person. But if that particular person basically goes out and just goes out for a drink after you give him money, then probably you should stop giving him money the next time. Because if you repeat this mistake again and again, that means you are making an unwise decision. So that is the reason why wisdom plays a role. Wisdom is a part of Saturn Mount, and Saturn Mount represents wisdom. Does a person has wisdom or not? So if the mount is good, the person is likely to be wise, and all his decisions, his or her decisions, are going to be full of wisdom. And whatever these people suggest also, they are also going to be, if other people follow such people's advice, the chances of making money and leading a happy life increases. The first part. The second part is money management. If the Saturn mount is good, there are no negative lines on the Saturn mount, the chances of managing your money increases. For example, let's take an example of what a bad Saturn mount might look like. It might look like something like this. Too many crisscrossing lines over out here. Too many lines basically means that the person is likely to be making unwise decisions, and at the same time the person would not be able to manage their money well. So both these things get applied to such a person's case. Apart from that, you should also be looking at the other aspect. The third aspect is the person should be responsible. So responsibility is another thing that is represented by Saturn. Let's take this person. He has got a family, and the person has kids as well. So the person should be responsible. Should be responsible with the money that he earns, and he should be investing his money so that in times of need, the family is able to utilize that particular money that the person has accumulated. So that is the reason why responsibility comes in. See, some people are not good at managing money, and they are not responsible people. They may make good amount of money, but when they actually need money, they may not have the money at that particular moment of time. So that's the reason why people who have got good mount of Saturn, they would always have money, money at the time when they need money for themselves and for their family. So a good Saturn is always good for money matters as well. Then the other part is materialistic outlook. Saturn gives materialistic outlook. So materialistic outlook comes from, if the heart line ends on the Mount of Saturn, it means that the heart is targeting towards Saturn, and Saturn is all about money, possessions, wealth, wisdom, responsibility. So the person's heart lies inside the money. The person wants more money. In his heart, the person knows the importance of money. So their outlook is purely and purely material oriented, material outlook. So people who have a material outlook are likely to make more money in their life. If you ask a kind of a person who is very idealistic, if your heartline reaches the Mount of Jupiter, then you are basically idealistic. You are not a materialistic kind of a person. You are not a person who has got materialistic outlook. So the possibility of making money decreases if the heartline is long and reaches the first finger, the finger of Jupiter. Then the other aspect is money is represented by the Saturn. Possessions is represented by Saturn. So now you know what basically Saturn is all about. Possessions also, it means if the Saturn is good, you would be able to accumulate possessions. Then Saturn is also about outer appearances. Money is basically outer appearances. Money is not your true heart. Heartline, if it is long, the person is idealistic. If it is short, it ends on the Saturn, the person is seeking good outer appearances for himself or herself and for their partners as well. When they go out and search for a partner, they would automatically be looking for a partner that is rich, and the person who has got good physical good outer appearances. They would want a partner who is kind of very, very beautiful to look at. So for them, beauty matters a lot. Saturn also brings in selfishness. See, the word may sound to be something bad, but there's nothing wrong to be selfish. If you want money, you are living in this material world, so you should be making money. So that is the reason why even if somebody calls you selfish, it is all okay, because you would be having money at the time when you need money. Management of resources also comes from the Saturn. If there are many crisscrossing lines out here, you would be managing your resources in a negative way. If you have got less lines over the Mount of Saturn, you would be managing your resources in a very, very good way. Okay, so that's how. Or if you have got just one perpendicular line, you would be managing your resources in a good way. If you've got one more line, it's all okay. But too many crisscrossing lines basically destroys the quality of the Mount of Saturn, and that is the reason why the chances for failure increases. Then the other way to look at the Saturn is depression. Saturn represents depression. If you've got too many horizontal lines over it, it means depressive tendencies. The chances of having depressive tendencies increases. Unwise decisions also come from Saturn. If there are crisscrossing lines, something like this, a grill-like formation, unwise decisions. If there are too many lines over the Mount of Saturn, again, it means there could be some delays in your life. Saturn also means very slow and steady. It means slow and steady. Slow and steady, there's nothing wrong with it. If you've got less lines over the Mount of Saturn, you know that you are not going to get everything immediately. And because you have this kind of an attitude, you would wait for rewards to come your way. So there's nothing wrong with a small amount of delays, but having too many lines on the Mount of Saturn basically increases the delays in your life, delays, depression, unwise decisions. So apart from that, old way of thinking, this is the old way of thinking is also represented by Saturn. See, if you look at an old man has seen all his life. Now he's at the last leg of his life, and he realizes that money plays a major role in one's life. So old men, you would notice that they would try to conserve money for the time, in the times for need. They would be needing money, so they would be conserving money. So this is a very, very important aspect. There's nothing wrong with old way of thinking. See, if you want to make money, you should have old way of thinking. Old way of thinking basically doesn't mean that you're not innovating. Old way of thinking is that there are methods to make money. What methods were there 100 years back also get applied even now. See, innovations can be there. There's nothing wrong with the innovation. You should be innovative and all those kind of things. But the way the business is done, you should be basically looking at that particular aspect. And old way of thinking, what used to happen in the past is also true for the present as well, how business has always been done. Now, stable thinking is also represented by Saturn. If there's a headline is kind of wavy out here under the Mount of Saturn, your thinking is likely to be unstable. So unstable thinking, or the heart line, if it is basically wavy out here, it means unstable heart. So unstable heart brings instability in your work life as well. And if your work life is also unstable, how can you prosper? So that is the reason why Saturn plays a major role in your life regarding the money aspect. Then hard work is represented by Saturn. Hard work, as everybody knows, this is the old way of thinking, that without hard work you can't make money. So hard work is represented by Saturn, and Saturn people can really do really good hard work. Less lines over the Mount of Saturn, the chances of people doing hard work increases. Too many crisscrossing lines, the chances of person being more lazy and not doing hard work increases. Perseverance is also represented by Saturn. Loneliness, if there are crisscrossing lines out here, the chances of being lonely and being alone increases. Good aspect of the Saturn is soberness. It brings us lots of soberness inside you. If you've got less lines out here, the person is likely to be sober, and everybody would want to come near to such a person because they would feel much more comfortable associating with such a person. Business is represented by Saturn. Heavy industries is represented by Saturn. Minerals, anything below the earth, the minerals, that basically comes from Saturn. So Saturn, that is the reason why it plays a major role in the money part. But lastly, I would point out that every line, every heart line, headline, your money line, your lifeline, your Mercury line, everything, and even the sun line, and even the shape of the hand, everything can point towards the money aspect in your life. Don't think that only the money line plays a role. Every line. Don't think only the fate line plays a role. Every line plays a role in your success. So don't ignore the other lines. Look at each and every line to arrive at the conclusion. Before I end my video, I would ask you to request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. You can call me, you can email me. These are the phone number and the email that I mentioned out here. Thanks for watching this video. This is a piece of advice. You should basically follow these things, and you can these are very important aspects of the palm reading. This is what you see on your screen, and importance of money line is just 15% as to how much money you would be making in your life. A saint once said, you don't need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you're doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company. That's what matters the most. Thanks, bye, and take care.